So I think though we are small as a company compared to like Facebook or Google, we have a really interesting lens on the world that I don't think a lot of other companies do. And that is because some of our hardest problems, arguably all of our hardest problems, have to do with the fact that we have to solve a relatively complex problem, solved in any time scale, and we have to solve it iteratively over the course of 2 minutes. And this translates to all kinds of funky things. It means that our computational load is gonna spike massively for 2 minutes and then go flat. We have to accommodate that. It means that the machine learning problem we solve, or I guess to be specific, the probabilistic matrix factorization problem that we solve, requires us solving it kind of on the second time scale and solving it iteratively over those 2 minutes. And we have to be able to access that data quick enough to reuse it. But if it fails, we have to have some type of failsafe to get around it. So we have to cache it and run multiple of those in parallel. And we have to do all of this where the failure of the system going down is that a question locks up, and that question locking up negatively impacts our customers and means that potentially our system goes down, which has in the past happened a couple times. So this unique lens means that we spend most of our time thinking about how to solve problems really quickly. It means we think about solving problems in real time, and it means that we find ourselves all the time taking a problem that someone else has already solved in a really smart way, where the time scale of minutes or hours is acceptable. And we have to then figure out how to remap that problem to something that can be solved in a minute, or a second, or 100 milliseconds. And so I think this means that we have to solve a lot of problems other people don't, which sometimes is a giant pain. I think most of our engineers think it's awesome. But overall, it's what we have to do. One problem that another company solved that at least got us close, I don't even think it was Netflix. It was during the Netflix competition where people really figured out how to scale probabilistic matrix factorization in a way that did not force you to know the number of underlying factors ahead of time. So this was probabilistic matrix factorization under a boundary condition of the nuclear norm minimization. So this meant that we didn't know how many underlying factors cause people to act the way they are, but we know that there is some degree of sparsity to it, and we can create a soft constraint on that. So we didn't have to invent that. That was already solved largely for recommender systems, but it was in a recommender system like Netflix, it's okay if they take all of their data and update their models over the course of 20 minutes or an hour or overnight. So we had to still figure out how to do it live and figure out how to do it kind of as data flows in and as we show updates to our customers as the data flows in, but that problem was already solved. Another problem that I would think of as feels almost not relevant, but to us it was, because when we started this problem wasn't really well baked, was basically being able to create a redundant system where you could separate the layers where all of your machine learning took place from the application layer in a way that your machine learning, what we'd call them, they're Kubernetes. There are microservices. If one of those microservices goes down, your whole system isn't screwed. And so you have to parallelize them, but they all need access to the last data output so that they're kind of in the same cycle, which means you have to share all of this. Now, to do that, when we first started building this, maybe like 5 years ago, was really tough. Today, we just use Redis and we throw all the data on a Redis, subscribe to a Redis channel, and it's easy. So that's a problem we totally didn't have to solve that we could utilize. There's a whole other stack of things here, like just take Reactor Typeform that makes it quick and easy to build a front-end UI that is a one-page application that can dynamically take live data as it flows in and out. So that was built by Facebook. So a lot of these things we've been able to take, we do not have to solve ourselves. So what it means is that I think like all academic work or all really good software development You build on all of the brilliant things that other people have done before you. And you have to get good at being able to not resolve a problem someone's already solved, and dial into like that small kernel of something that you actually have to figure out and actually have to find a solution to that no one has yet. For us, those all revolve around doing things really quickly in real time, solving this 2-minute problem we always talk about. But we don't have to solve it from scratch. There's a lot of people who've already done a lot of the hard stuff.